India's journey toward becoming an economic powerhouse has drawn comparisons to China's rapid ascent, yet the paths of these two nations differ significantly. While India's burgeoning economy holds immense potential, it will never follow China's exact trajectory for several reasons, rooted in both historical and contemporary contexts. China's economic rise, which began in earnest after the Sino-Soviet split, marked a significant shift away from Soviet-style communism. The split in the 1960s allowed China to pursue a more independent path, which led to the introduction of market reforms, particularly after the death of Chairman Mao Zedong and the rise of Deng Xiaoping in the late 1970s. Deng's leadership was pivotal in opening China's economy to the world. The establishment of special economic zones, SEZs, played a crucial role in this transformation by creating areas where market-oriented policies could be tested and foreign investment was actively encouraged. These SEZs, starting with cities like Shenzhen, became hubs for manufacturing and export, attracting multinational companies looking for low-cost labor and favorable economic conditions. The influx of Western investment in these zones enabled China to rapidly industrialize and modernize its economy, turning it into the world's factory. This process was characterized by a significant shift from an agrarian society to one dominated by manufacturing and export-driven growth. China's strategy was to leverage its vast labor force and relatively low wages to attract foreign companies, which brought in capital, technology, and expertise. Over time, this led to the creation of a robust manufacturing base, which has been the backbone of China's economic growth for the past few decades. The success of these policies helped lift hundreds of millions of people out of poverty and position China as a global economic powerhouse. However, this rapid industrialization also came with challenges such as environmental degradation, income inequality, and the need for ongoing reforms to sustain growth. Despite these challenges, China's embrace of market reforms and integration into the global economy has been one of the most significant economic transformations in modern history, reshaping not only China, but also the global economic landscape. India, on the other hand, followed a different path. Post-independence, India adopted a mixed economic model with significant Soviet influence, characterized by centralized planning and protectionist policies. The economy was dominated by large state-backed industries and was slower to embrace the liberalization needed to attract significant foreign investment. Although India began economic reforms in the 1990s, they were less aggressive and comprehensive compared to China's, leading to a slower growth trajectory. China's rapid industrialization and its role as a global manufacturing hub have been central to its economic success. The country's ability to produce goods cheaply and efficiently, thanks to a vast and disciplined labor force, robust infrastructure, and government support, allowed it to dominate global manufacturing. India, despite its large and youthful workforce, has struggled to replicate this success. The Make in India initiative aimed to increase manufacturing's share of GDP to 25% by 2025, yet progress has been sluggish. India's manufacturing sector remains underdeveloped, contributing only around 15% to GDP. Challenges such as bureaucratic red tape, inadequate infrastructure, and a complex regulatory environment have hindered the growth of manufacturing. Unlike China, which was able to build an extensive network of supply chains and export-oriented industries, India's manufacturing sector is less integrated with the global economy. China's demographic profile, once a key driver of its rapid economic growth, is now becoming a significant challenge due to the aging population resulting from the one-child policy. This policy, implemented in 1980, successfully slowed population growth, but has led to a shrinking workforce and a growing elderly population. As a result, China faces a demographic crisis that threatens its future economic stability, with fewer workers to support an increasing number of retirees. In contrast, India is experiencing a demographic dividend, characterized by a large young and growing population. With a median age much lower than China's, India has the potential to harness this youthful workforce to drive economic growth and innovation. This demographic advantage could position India as a global economic powerhouse in the coming decades, provided the country effectively manages education employment opportunities, and infrastructure development to fully capitalize on its growing population. However, India's success in leveraging its demographic dividend will depend on its ability to create jobs, improve healthcare and education systems, and maintain social stability. If these challenges are not addressed, the demographic dividend could turn into a demographic burden, with high unemployment rates and social unrest. Therefore, while India's youthful population offers a significant opportunity, it also presents a complex set of challenges that will require careful planning and investment. The benefits of a young population depend on the country's ability to provide education, skills training, and employment opportunities. India's literacy rates and life expectancy, while improving, still lag behind China's, posing challenges for workforce productivity and economic growth. Moreover, the window to capitalize on this demographic dividend is narrowing as India's population is projected to stabilize mid-century. India's strengths lie more in its service sector, particularly in technology and information services. With a large English-speaking population and a strong IT industry, India has become a global leader in outsourcing and tech services. Companies around the world, including major players like Apple, have turned to India for their technology needs, not just for manufacturing, but for design, innovation, and services. This contrasts with China, which has focused heavily on manufacturing, but is now also making strides in technology, especially in areas like artificial intelligence, telecommunications, and renewable energy. India's challenge will be to continue growing its service sector while also developing its manufacturing base, a balancing act that China managed more effectively in the early stages of its economic ascent. India's rise as a potential economic superpower also places it in direct competition with China on the global stage. However, unlike China, which was able to leverage its economic growth to assert its geopolitical influence, India faces more complex regional dynamics. Its relationships with neighboring countries, many of which have strong economic ties with China, are fraught with historical tensions and territorial disputes. Additionally, India's democratic political system, while a strength in many respects, presents challenges in terms of policy consistency and implementation. China's authoritarian model allowed for swift decision-making and long-term planning, which were critical in its rapid development. In contrast, India's federal system and frequent elections can lead to policy shifts and delays, complicating large-scale economic initiatives. India's global image is shaped significantly by its democratic values and its positioning as a non-threatening, benign power on the world stage. Unlike China, which is often viewed with suspicion due to its authoritarian regime, human rights issues, and assertive foreign policy, India is generally seen as a stable and trustworthy partner. This perception enhances India's appeal to international investors and strengthens its ability to forge global partnerships. India's commitment to democracy, rule of law, and human rights resonates with many nations, making it an attractive destination for both economic and strategic collaborations. As a result, India's global standing benefits from a positive image that contrasts sharply with the more contentious reputation of China, especially in areas of governance and international relations. This difference in perception can be a significant advantage for India as it seeks to expand its influence and integrate more deeply into the global economy. India's soft power, including its cultural influence and diaspora, is significant and growing. However, to translate this soft power into economic clout, India will need to address domestic challenges such as poverty, inequality, and infrastructure deficits. India's path to becoming a global economic leader is inherently different from China's trajectory and will require a tailored strategy that leverages India's unique strengths while addressing its specific challenges. India's young and expanding population is a major asset, often referred to as a demographic dividend. With a median age significantly lower than China's, India's workforce is expected to grow, providing a strong foundation for economic expansion. However, to truly harness this potential, India must invest in education and skills development to ensure that its workforce is equipped for the demands of a modern economy. Unlike China, which focused heavily on manufacturing, India's demographic structure positions it to benefit more from sectors that require a skilled workforce, such as information technology, services, and digital industries. India's economic structure is already heavily oriented towards services, which contributes significantly to its GDP. The country has established itself as a global leader in information technology, outsourcing, and software services, attracting major corporations worldwide. This service-oriented economy allows India to bypass some of the challenges associated with large-scale industrialization, such as the environmental impact and infrastructure demands that China faced during its manufacturing boom. However, to continue its growth in the service sector, India must improve its digital infrastructure, expand internet access, and ensure cybersecurity. Additionally, fostering innovation through support for startups, research, and development will be crucial. India's focus on becoming a global hub for digital services and technology can propel it to the forefront of the global economy, especially as the world becomes increasingly digitized. Foreign investment is vital for India's economic aspirations. To attract more investment, India needs to address several key issues, including bureaucratic red tape, complex regulatory environments, and inadequate infrastructure. Streamlining business processes and reducing the time and cost required to set up and operate businesses in India will be crucial. The government's initiatives, such as Make in India and Digital India, aim to improve the ease of doing business, but more work is needed to implement these policies effectively across all states and sectors. India's democratic system and legal framework provide a level of transparency and stability that can be attractive to foreign investors. Unlike China, where political risks and state intervention can pose challenges for businesses, India's governance model offers predictability and a rule-based environment. However, political stability, consistency in policy implementation, and efforts to combat corruption will be essential to maintain investor confidence. For India to realize its economic potential, significant investment in infrastructure is required. Unlike China, which rapidly developed its infrastructure to support industrialization, India faces the challenge of modernizing its cities, transportation networks, and utilities to accommodate its growing population and economic activities. Urbanization in India is accelerating, and the government must focus on creating smart cities, improving public transportation, and ensuring sustainable development. The development of infrastructure will not only support industrial growth, but also enhance the quality of life for India's urban population, making cities more livable and productive. Public-private partnerships, foreign investment, and innovative financing mechanisms will play a crucial role in funding these infrastructure projects. India's global image as a democratic nation with a rich cultural heritage and a commitment to human rights significantly enhances its ability to form international partnerships, attract foreign investment, and influence global affairs. Unlike China, which often faces scrutiny over its authoritarian practices and aggressive policies, India is viewed as a benign power with a strong tradition of democracy. This positive perception is crucial as India navigates its role in multilateral organizations, builds strategic alliances, and leads in global initiatives like climate change and public health. India's participation in international forums such as the United Nations, G20, and BRICS showcases its commitment to global governance and collaboration. Its strategic partnerships with major powers, including the United States, Japan, and European countries, are further strengthened by its democratic values and shared interests in promoting a rules-based international order. Additionally, India's leadership in addressing global challenges, such as climate change, through initiatives like the International Solar Alliance, and its role in global health, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic, where it supplied vaccines to many countries, reinforce its image as a responsible global player. India's soft power is also bolstered by its cultural influence, with Bollywood, yoga, and its diverse cuisine playing a significant role in shaping its global identity. The country's emphasis on education, technology, and innovation, combined with its young and dynamic workforce, positions it as a key player in the global economy. In contrast, China's authoritarian governance and aggressive foreign policy have often led to suspicion and resistance from other nations. India's ability to maintain a positive global image while advancing its economic interests will be a key factor in its rise as a global power. India's economic journey is not without challenges. Issues such as income inequality, rural poverty, and regional disparities need to be addressed to ensure inclusive growth. The government must implement policies that promote rural development, improve access to education and healthcare, and create job opportunities in underdeveloped regions. Additionally, reforms in labor laws, land acquisition processes, and the judicial system are necessary to create a more conducive environment for economic growth. India's ability to navigate these challenges while leveraging its strengths will determine its success in becoming a global economic leader. Unlike China, which followed a state-driven model of economic development, India will need to rely on a combination of government initiatives, private sector innovation, and international cooperation to achieve its goals.